Now today in studio we have Tazim Elkington. She's a speaker, trainer, writer, poet and paradigm shifter. Thank you for coming to studio. I love your name.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you have a meetup this evening, right?
Yes.
What is this meetup about?
The meetup is entitled The Invisible Circle, and the concept behind the Invisible Circle started while I was still in Toronto, because I've only been back for 3.5 months. And I started this on the basis that it would give people space to come and discuss topics and aspects of their lives that they have not been able to fully explore. So it's a very simple, way of doing things. We have a couple of topics we put in a ball. We pick a topic, and then I facilitate open-ended discussions with the group. So I have about, I think, 15 or 16 people coming in this evening, and it gets very interactive. It gives people the space to really express. The one thing I'm very, very specific about is the fact that whatever is discussed in groups needs to stay there, because we have a tendency in our culture to gossip. And gossip is a toxic cancer in our society. So I create the space and I request everyone to ensure that they will keep whatever we speak about sacred within that space, so that no one feels that they're not able to really express. And this goes on for about an hour and a half. And it's amazing how people suddenly start to realize things, because they're speaking, and then others have the opportunity to speak as well. So as they listen, they start to understand that, it's probably not just me that's experiencing a whole lot of stuff, because we all experience everything.
What do people talk about?
Well, the topics I've discussed are communication, relationships, death, love. Love is a huge one, we have all these concepts about love. Emotions, feelings, meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? What are we all doing here? So we have very interesting topics that come up.
So what is it's done like it's a conversation, it's a discussion, and everybody gives their opinion, or how is it conducted?
Actually, I'm not a structured person. I lived within structure for many, many years, including within the corporate world. And so I don't put a frame to it. I let it take its course. And the way it takes its course is you basically open up the space, and I can hold the space for people to either say what they feel, or question what they feel, or question a specific way of being. So by doing that, what each person's doing is exploring how they feel. Most people don't have the space to explore how they feel. We're constantly in our busyness, doing, speaking, busy. We don't really take time to sit with ourselves to understand how we feel, what do we feel, how does that feeling make us feel on the outside, and how does it feel on the inside? Because there's two ways of feeling. There's one feeling on the outside, and there's another feeling on the inside. So for example, if someone says to you, oh, you know what, you're not very intelligent, your immediate feeling on the inside is to get upset, or on the inside is to defend yourself. On the outside would be to be upset or angry and react, which doesn't help anything. Whereas when you look at how you're feeling inside, instead of reacting, you pause and then you respond, you have a completely different conversation that will proceed from there.
So why is this important when you say it's about what we feel and knowing we feel, how do we feel it, Why is it important? Because see, a lot of times, for instance, so say for instance I've broken up maybe with my boyfriend, and then I come to work and I'm depressed, and I come here and it's really no one's business here, and I've got to suppress it, So why, when you tell me I've got to think about how I feel and feel what I feel, how does that help me, for instance? What's the importance of this whole thing?
The importance is people don't feel what they feel. They feel what other people expect them to feel. All right? So if you are constantly living based on everything outside of you, other people's opinions, other people's expectations, other people's requirements, you don't really know who you are. And until a human being starts to take time to understand themselves, we're not going to have any changes happening on the subtle levels of our existence. We don't even know. I mean, most people don't even take the time to ask, what am I doing here? What is the meaning of my life? You know, how long am I here for? Am I here forever? No. So we've created a society where, and a culture and a world where we've forgotten to take time to understand the essence of life. And my message is about going back to that essence. We have so many angry people because they don't know how to diffuse the anger. And they have a right to be angry, but we also have to look at what are the parameters that have caused that anger. We also, as individuals, every single individual, need to take responsibility of what we've created in our society as a whole. I'm not only responsible for myself, I'm responsible for you, even though I've just met you, and I'm responsible for the entire world, because whatever I do, my actions have an impact on the world. As a single person, you know, it's the old saying, you know, we might be just drops in the ocean, but without the drops in the ocean, you cannot have the ocean. So it's so important that people, I think at this stage in time, with all the things that are going on, start to really, really look at the meaning of life, beginning from what am I doing here, how am I feeling, and how does that correspond and respond to what my life and what my values are worth.
Often, sometimes when you listen to a lot of people, they will tell you that in a world which is full of so many bad things, you're saying we have so many angry people in this world. You look at the world we live in, we have a global economic meltdown, we don't have jobs, we are hungry. I'm an angry person, but really, what is it that, you know, we're always told you should first learn to love yourself, and then from there on, you can be able to take the steps. Is it as basic as that, loving myself?
I think the whole concept about loving oneself has been oversold, and people don't understand what that means, because people don't understand what love means. Love actually has no definition. Love has no expectation. Love has no corresponding friends that are supposed to walk with it, because love in itself is so immense, so huge, the word unconditional love that we've created is like, that in itself is a condition. By putting unconditional before love makes it a condition already. The point is, love is misunderstood. So when one is told, love yourself, what does that mean? I would rather phrase it, know thyself. Because as you know yourself, every religious script, every leader has talked about the fact that we need to really learn to know who I am. What makes me function? Where do I function from? What are my principles? What are my values? What is the meaning of my life? And you never get an answer to why am I here. That answer is not going to come, because nobody died and came back and told us, hey, by the way, guys, after you're done here, the next step is planet 2 or Earth 2. Nobody came back and told us. So we know that we're only passing through, but I don't think everybody acknowledges that.
Know thyself. So that's the key word, know thyself. How does that process start?
There's many ways. I think my process began because I recognized that my life was not giving me joy. Joy, again, is a word that's misconstrued. I wasn't feeling settled within myself. There were things that were going on that caused me to be angry, to be pained, to feel hurt, and a whole lot of emotions that were not healthy for me. Inherently, since I was born, I'm a happy person. Regardless, the roof can cave in, and I'm just a happy person. Okay, that's my inherent being. But I had all these things going on that were making me kind of curl up and, block my expression, and I can't blame anybody for that. I take responsibility for the fact that whatever I had in my life and the relationships that I had that contributed to that was what I allowed. If somebody was mean or nasty, if I had a relationship that was really unhealthy, I was allowing it. Yeah, so I needed to take responsibility of that, because people don't need to be where it's unhealthy. And I actually removed myself from many unhealthy situations, and I keep doing that. So when I realized that something wasn't in balance and I needed to change it, and the change was not going to come because I wanted to change someone else. You can never change someone else. The only person you can change is yourself. Yeah, and you can't really change yourself. What it is that you change your perception, the way you look at things. So if, for example, like you were saying, if you broke up with your boyfriend and you were upset, if you broke up with your boyfriend and you were upset, those two sentences are a contradiction. Because if you chose to break up, you had good reason to break up, then why would you be upset? If your boyfriend decided to break up with you, then you were going through your rejection and, not feeling good enough or wondering, why that had to happen. The point is, it's not about your boyfriend. It's about how you're feeling. What has brought you to that situation? So when I arrived at these places that were not feeling good, I realized I needed to change something. I needed to change the way I looked at it. I needed to change what was in my life, because if it was making me feel like that, then I needed to remove it. And so I started the process of looking at who was in my life, my relationships, the people I surrounded myself with, how that impacted how I felt, and what I needed to do to start looking at my life. And the first realization I had was I needed to live from a point that no one's opinion had any impact on my life. And that was the hugest experience and the hugest realization, because that began my journey to myself. I was now in a position to start understanding that my life was mine, not based on what people expected of me, what people wanted me to be, how they wanted me to be. So I had to get back to being and understanding who I am.
Okay, Tazim, we have a call on hold. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
What's your name?
I was just trying to understand the concept of this lady, what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I came in the middle of the show and I haven't caught exactly what, but listening to what she was talking about, I feel like I really need to understand exactly what is her organization, because I can feel her touching my heart. Because right now, as she was saying that she was feeling her life is not, that is, I'm feeling exactly at this point of my life. I'm feeling terrible. I'm feeling like I want to end it. I feel like there is no need for me to be in this life anymore.
What's your name?
I'm Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay, Elizabeth, thanks. Tazim, what would you tell Elizabeth?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for calling in. Now, your question is that you do not understand specifically what I mean. So would you like to ask me exactly what your question is? What part don't you understand? Because we've spoken about a few concepts. So if you can be a little bit more specific, then I can respond to you appropriately.
I remember a particular question, I don't know if you still have online, but I remember a particular question where she asked, what's your organization and what's it about?
I don't have an organization. I work individually. And I have been away from Kenya for 9 years, and I've only been back, like I said, 3 months. So I'm starting out, I'm going out on a limb, and that's what I've been doing for the last 3 months. Basically, I've spoken, I addressed a group of youth that were at a peace assembly organized by the Lutheran Church, Feklaha, YWCA. This was in April. It was a peace assembly.